I mean, you were there enjoying the party like everyone else.
Ted, are you suggesting that I chip in?
Well,
How much?
There's a photograph from the Mary Tyler Moore Show that almost no one was ever meant to see. It wasn't part of a press shoot nor a staged publicity still. It was a candid moment, captured in 1973 when the cameras kept rolling at the wrong time, or perhaps the right time, depending on how you see it. What they caught in the background was never supposed to be public. Mary Tyler Moore herself tried to have it destroyed, calling it too revealing, but one copy slipped through the cracks, and if you've ever seen it, you understand instantly why CBS wanted it buried. The truth about that iconic newsroom and the cast we thought we knew was hiding in plain sight. By the late 1960s, television was still a star-driven industry. The actors' names were what sold shows, and the prevailing wisdom was that the script was secondary, but one man, Grant Tinker, had a different vision. In 1969, he and his wife Mary Tyler Moore launched MTM Enterprises with a radical idea that television should be a writer's medium. Tinker's philosophy was simple: hire the best creative minds, give them freedom, and protect them from network interference. It was a gamble, and an unusual one, but in the hands of writers like James L. Brooks and Alan Burns, that gamble turned into The Mary Tyler Moore Show, a series that would reshape the medium. When it was first conceived in 1970, the creators imagined Mary Richards played by Moore as a 30-year-old divorcee starting over. That was unheard of for television at the time. Network executives panicked. Divorce was rarely addressed on TV, and the fear was that audiences wouldn't accept it. One CBS executive even joked, "They'll think she divorced Dick Van Dyke," referring to Moore's previous sitcom husband. Market research claimed Americans wouldn't embrace a divorced lead, just as they supposedly wouldn't accept characters who were Jewish, had mustaches, or broke other unspoken TV rules. Under pressure, the writers changed Mary from a divorcee to a single woman fresh out of a long engagement. Even that was revolutionary: a working woman living independently, not looking for a man to complete her life. The choice of a newsroom setting was deliberate. Brooks had worked as a journalist and story editor before comedy, and he and Burns knew the high-pressure, eccentric world of local TV news would give the series energy and realism. This wasn't another domestic sitcom set in a suburban kitchen. The Mary Tyler Moore Show brought workplace friendships, gender politics, and career ambitions into primetime, all wrapped in sharp writing and warmth. Mary Tyler Moore, of course, had her own reservations about returning to television. After her success as Laura Petrie on The Dick Van Dyke Show, she had tried Broadway and film with mixed results. The flop of Holly Golightly on Broadway shook her confidence. But with CBS's offer and the promise that she and Tinker would control the project through MTM, she agreed. It was a decision that would define her legacy. The show premiered on September 19, 1970, and it was an immediate breath of fresh air. Mary Richards was a single, professional woman in her 30s, confident, warm, and independent. She wasn't chasing marriage, she was building a life. Audiences connected instantly. Ratings climbed from 22nd place in its first season to the top 10 in its second, and by its third year it was one of the most-watched shows in America. Over 7 seasons, it would win 29 Emmy Awards, including 3 consecutive wins for Outstanding Comedy Series. But the Mary Tyler Moore Show also broke ground in ways that went beyond ratings. In one episode, Mary returns home in the morning, still wearing the dress from the night before, a subtle acknowledgement of her romantic life. In another, her mother casually reminds her to take her pill, which Mary and her father answer in unison, "I won't." It was a sly nod to birth control, a topic almost entirely absent from 1970s television. The show didn't lecture. It simply presented Mary as a modern woman living on her own terms, something both revolutionary and, for some, unsettling. Yet behind the carefully crafted scripts were mistakes and oddities that became part of the show's charm. Boom microphones dipped into frame, lighting rigs appeared in the background, and clocks in the newsroom set never moved, including to labeled Minneapolis and Chicago, despite being in the same time zone. Continuity slips happen too, like Rhoda's disappearing dinner plate mid-scene, or palm trees showing up in what was supposed to be Minneapolis. They were small reminders that television magic was built on a very real, very human set. The series also became a lightning rod for cultural debate. Feminist icon Gloria Steinem criticized the fact that Mary always called her boss Mr. Grant, while male colleagues called him Lou. It was a subtle, but telling, indicator of workplace gender dynamics. Others accused the show of being compromised. Feminists portraying Mary as independent enough to inspire, but never so assertive as to alienate audiences. Still, moments like the 1972 episode where Mary discovers she earns less than her male predecessor pushed boundaries. Even though her confrontation with Lou was nervous and halting, it brought the issue of pay inequality into living rooms nationwide. The cast's off-screen lives were just as compelling and sometimes as dramatic as the scripts. Ed Asner, beloved as Lou Grant, took a political stand in the early 1980s that many believe cost him his career. Valerie Harper, adored as Rodder, won multiple Emmys but later faced financial hardship after lawsuit and health battles. Ted Knight, who found late-in-life fame as the bumbling Ted Baxter, built a $10 million fortune through acting and smart investments. Through it all, friendships endured. Moore and Asner remained close, even dating briefly, and the ensemble maintained a real affection for one another despite occasional tensions. The show also took creative risks in storytelling. The 1975 episode Chuckles Bites the Dust, where the newsroom attends the funeral of the clown killed in a bizarre parade accident, remains one of television's most perfect blends of humor and poignancy, and its spin-offs proved the strength of MTM's storytelling. Rodden and Phyllis
TV
carried the
Guide
comedic
even ran
torch,
an editorial
while Lou Grant
complaining
transformed
that
into a one-hour newsroom drama that won 27 major awards, proving that a single character could thrive in two completely different genres. Perhaps the greatest legacy of the Mary Tyler Moore Show was the creative environment MTM fostered. Writers like Brooks, Burns, and the Charles brothers, who would go on to create Cheers and Frasier, learned to put character and story above all else. That DNA can be traced through Murphy Brown, Designing Women, The Golden Girls, and countless others, even decades later. The MTM style, smart, character-driven, and deeply human, remains a gold standard in television. And so, that Forbidden's photograph from 1973 is more than just a curiosity. It's a reminder that behind the polished perfection of one of television's greatest shows were real people, real risks, and a willingness to challenge the rules both on screen and off. The Mary Tyler Moore Show didn't just make us laugh. It quietly, cleverly changed what was possible on television, and in doing so, it changed the culture itself.